Hey everyone, look at you all just like showing up on a Friday afternoon, super last minute to be in an environment that's going to support your business growth, no matter what level you are at. I'm really excited to share with you all today. Let me just get Jasmine over here as the host. All right, Jasmine, your host, girl. All right. My responsibilities now are just focusing on you all. So those of you I haven't met, I think I've met everyone, but if I haven't, I'm Melissa. I used to hate business. I thought you either cared about business or people, and now I'm a business strategist, so kind of funny. But what I learned was that I was resistant to the limiting beliefs I had around it. And business is the way in which we impact the world. It's the way we leave our mark. It's our way that we can be a ripple effect. So we just had, now if you heard that song, someone dropped it in the chat, I've had the song in my head since Ignite. A week ago today, we hosted my favorite event we've ever hosted in person. Maybe this will be my favorite live event ever. Here in Tulum, Mexico, we had over 100 people there, and I really spoke into batter's box songs. Like, what is your song? If you're walking up to the batter's box, there's like 2 outs, bases loaded, it's all on you. Like, what is that song? And currently, Diamond is mine. So thanks for sharing in my batter's box song. But like, hype yourself up. Honestly, like I told the story of when I was applying for a job a while ago. There were 300 people who applied. It was a big application process. And I'm sitting there in the waiting room of the lobby with my headphones in, listening to my then batter's box song, which was Nelly, Ride With Me. I'm like totally dating myself. But it's just fun, you guys. We get to choose the energy we're in every day. So if you can be on camera, that'd be great. I always appreciate that because I feed off of energy. Jasmine just dropped that in. If you're driving and it's not safe, please don't worry about it. Jaxida, you got some friends on here. Thank you for bringing your friends. Hello, Jaxida's friends. You know, I'm not going to spend too much time on my story because I want to really teach this process today. But we can connect after, and I'm happy to share everything I can. Jasmine will be running the chat. Jasmine is a former client of mine who is now on my team, running her own programs as well as supporting in mine. So know that she's a go-to for anything that you need. And she's also here in Tulum, which is fun. Now, I would love to see in the chat what feels most important to you in your business in March. It is March 1st. We are entering a new month. When we get to April 1st, what does success look like for you in your business? Michelle, amazing. You're so close. Launching our program. Client delivery. Okay, product suite, landing pages, signing clients. Amazing. I love all of these. So great. Now, if you're not familiar, 3 more clients. I love it. Keep dropping them in. Keep dropping them in. I'll keep an eye on them. But I work with entrepreneurs of all levels. I have 90-Day CEO, which is more of my foundational program. It's a group program for people who are in like the 0 to 8, 0 to 10K, typically revenue ranges. I can scale, you know. I have a virtual assistant agency where I can pair you with virtual assistant. Did not plan on opening that, by the way. Entrepreneurship is like see a problem, solve a problem. It's literally what it was. And like all my clients needed to hire, but they didn't know where to go. So I started giving them my team, and then my team was maxed out. And I'm like, wait, I need my team. So I started building my own team. And then I work with people one-on-one, privately. It's going to be higher level, more intimate support. So that's what I do. But the truth is, no matter what level, I use this exact same process. And this process is really powerful in a few different ways. One is entrepreneurship. It's really hard to not make decisions from emotion, because it's like we feel like it's like we are our business and our business is us. But the truth is we're not our business and our business is not us. We got to make decisions from data in our businesses. So like, honestly, if you're not like, that's not a regular thing for you, highly recommend like writing down, how am I making more decisions from data? for my business. I bring my emotion to things like this, to workshops, seminars, to coaching calls, but I don't bring emotions to the decision-making of my business. That to me would be irresponsible. And a lot of times people get up and they think like, well, what is my business going to do for me? Or what energy is my business bringing to me? And I want to invite you into thinking about, what does my business need from me today? If my business gets one thing from me today, what does it need? And this process will help you get clear in that. Because I say a business is like having a child. You don't ever get up and say like, what's my child going to do for me today? Or I don't feel like giving my child food today, right? It's very much about, what does my child need from me today? Do we see that distinction? Yeah. Okay, cool. So Jasmine, is my Wi-Fi breaking up? Because I think I'm on the upstairs network. I'm okay. Okay. If it does, let me know. I'm not going to mess with it now. Avi, is my Wi-Fi breaking up? I'm good. Okay. If it starts breaking up, let me know, because sometimes I link to the upstairs network, and I did, of course, but it's fine. We'll go with it for now. So this process is I do two things in entrepreneurship. Okay, great. Thanks, Joel. Hi, Joel. I didn't even see you on here. Process is two things. Or what I do is two things. I look for holes and opportunities. Holes and opportunities. I was just down on the beach this morning recording content with Daniel G. Many of you met him at the event. He's an absolute expert in sales. But one of the things we recorded on is something I teach on a lot. Everyone wants more. I need more leads. I need more followers. I need more marketing content. I need more, I need more, I need more. All right, you guys are choppy on me. I am going to take 30 seconds. Jasmine, you want to come off mute and drop something in here about how this process has supported you?
Absolutely. So while she's doing that, hi everyone, I'm Jasmine. The wanting more, and actually Daniel talks about this a lot, and so does Melissa. When we want more leads, when we want more of something that we're already not actually extracting anything out of, then we're just going to keep on getting the same results, which is likely the direction she's going to go. And I know that Daniel talks about it frequently in his content. She's talked about it in almost every single coaching call I've seen her do, that if you've got already a list of 25, 30 leads and everyone has been a cold end, it's not the issue of the leads, potentially. It's the issue of the approach. It's the issue of the pitch. It's the issue of the messaging along the way. And that's what I've learned from it. Like, I've been able to convert, I had a list of like 600 leads that were cold as like fluff. We'll call it fluff, cold as fluff. And I'd been working with these leads for 3 years. I had a 30 to 40% opening rate on my emails, but nothing was a return. And then I started changing the messaging of what I was doing. I started changing the way that I approached them when they actually clicked on the link. I started changing the messaging in the emails and the calls of action. I started changing the way I speak to them in the DMs, and my DMs started to become more of building rapport. Sorry about all the music here. I apologize. The DM started being more about rapport and just building relationships, and less about what can I get out of these people? How quickly can I turn this into a sale? How quickly can I turn this around? Because my impatience was seeing every single conversation, including emails, as a transaction. Nothing was happening. And I started to get a drop off, especially when I started doing more frequent emails. I started changing that messaging into, how are you doing? How can I support you for free? Like, what kind of value can I add to your life? And then people started sending me inquiries like, how do I buy your product? Where do I find your journal? When are you going to be doing a retreat? Can I work with you privately? How much is this? Like, I didn't even have to pitch them anything. They actually started to miss my pitching. They started to miss the pitch. Are you back, Melissa?
Oh yeah, I'm back. I've just been listening to you go.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. You go. We got Joel's pumping his fist over there. People are cheering. So thank you, Jasmine. And what she's speaking into is she had a hole in messaging. So I'm always looking for holes. and opportunities. I had a client, her name was, her Instagram name was Lady Hammer. She was super like the strong fitness person. She had like 150,000 followers or something on Instagram. And she was putting out a free workshop. And her free workshop was to lead into her launch. 2 days before, she only had 4 people signed up. And we got on, and she was like, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Anyone ever felt that? Maybe I'm not good enough. I'm an imposter. You know, my dad was right. My partner was right. Whoever was right. I can't do this. And our mind and our emotion will take us in this spiral. And so I looked at her whole kind of funnel with her, and I realized her messaging was really fuzzy. Messaging is one of the biggest holes, gaps that I see. So often people try and talk to everyone. And when you try to talk to everyone, you talk to no one. And so I worked with her, and I won't get into too much detail in the process. I do teach the exact process I took her through. It's called So What? And if you want to make note of it, look at your messaging and ask yourself, so what? I help people do this. So what? And I did it with her, not 1 round, but like 3, 4, 5. She was fucking frustrated, and I was glad we were on Zoom because she's really strong and it looked like she wanted to fight me. But by doing so what, it takes you through a practice of why it matters. Because it matters to you, but honestly, people watching, they see a lot of information. It doesn't really matter to them that much. So messaging, yeah, Jasmine, I give her so much credit because she has allowed herself to stand in the fire and the triggers, which are the breakthroughs. I always say, I'm not your cheerleader, I'm your champion. I'm not like, I'm a very happy person, but my job, my responsibility to you is not to be your cheerleader. It's to be your champion, hold you in your greatness, right? If I was more worried about you liking me, I'm more worried about me than I am about you. So I used this yesterday. I was chatting with Jess, who I think is on the call, but this is so great. I just bought this recently. This is so perfect. I used to take a cup like this and try and explain, but this is, when you see this, like a little thing like you kind of, okay. So this is what you want to look at for your business, because you can have more leads, you can have more followers, you can have more everything. But if you have holes, it's just going to keep leaking out. Number one issue I see is that people look at more. Now, your hole might be your product offering. Your offering might not have a long enough length of client or retention. Maybe you don't have a referral system built in. It could be your messaging. It could be your show up rate on your calls. It could be your closing rate on your calls. It could be booking calls. You need to identify, as you head into March, what are your top 2 holes in your business, and focus on those. Second thing we look for are opportunities. Where is their money hiding? And this is like my favorite. Where is their money hiding that like we're just missing because we're not looking in the right spots? We're looking at what we don't have versus what's available. So for example, I was working with one of my private clients a couple of weeks ago. I shared this story with a few of you, but I was working with him, and I was like, you know, he's like, you know, my social media has just kind of dropped. I'm not getting a lot of engagement. And he got in his head. And he was like, I feel like I'm old news. Like I've run my course. I'm like, all right, well, let's take a look. And I looked at his application on his website to work with him, and it was 22 questions. Now, my initial thought was 22 questions, way too fucking many. Now, this is a very abnormal case. I do not advise anyone to have a 22 question application. People ask me all the time, Melissa, should I have an application to get on a call with me? And here's what I'll say. If you are struggling, if your hole is that people aren't getting on calls, you don't have book calls, make it as easy as possible. Skip the fucking application. If your problem is you're getting unqualified leads, booking calls, and you're wasting your time, yes, put it in an application. Do you see how it's not a universal response? I'm not just going to say everyone should do an application or no one should, right? So this is where you have to understand your business and know where's your hole, where's your gap. Okay, well, mine is book calls, for example. Okay, well then no application. So he thought his hole, his issue, his mind, his emotion was telling him that he was old news, he'd run his course, and he should just like give up. What was he going to do? So I'm like, oh, it's probably this application. So let's look at how many people have applied. Let's take a look at this and we'll probably make it like 3 questions or even get rid of it. So he pulls it up, like 600 applicants. And like the last 4 months, I'm telling you, this isn't normal. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, right? What have you been doing with these people? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, where do their emails go? Where do their applications go? I don't know. We found the hole. So we get out of the story of I've run my course, I'm not good enough, which even someone with that many applicants was in that story. And now what do? We set up a retargeting campaign. Hey, you applied? Here's how you can work with me. 1, 2, 3. Reply, and we make it as simple as possible. Reply with which one you're interested in. Right? One-on-one coaching, group coaching, retreat. 1, 2, 3. Right? And now we're putting all of these people in an email targeted sequence. Right? The retreat has filled. And there's only one-on-one spot left. That's a massive shift in business without any more. Now, I guarantee you, now this was an extreme story. I had someone else, and I'll tell one more story. I'm going to start to show you how this all works. I had another client I was working with, and she was preparing for a launch, and she only had like 4 people in, and her goal had been, I think, 16. And what had happened was she was in so many, this is huge. I see people forget this all the time. She was in so many conversations with people about joining, but then she would forget, right? She would totally like forget about them. And so she's sitting there like, this is what I call the nurturing. She's not nurturing. So she talks to someone and they're like, oh, not now. And she forgets about them. You have to put a system and a process in place to have regular touch points with people. Right? I had someone who literally, and I've used her as an example, but I think she's on this call, but like 3 years ago, we had our first like discovery call. I don't know, 2 years ago, something like that. And she wasn't ready. And I didn't care about her any less. I just kept touch points with her, talked to her. I care about every human. Whether or not you work with me here, I care about you, right? And if I can support you, yeah, I'm going to invite you to work with me, of course. I believe I can change your business. But if you choose not to, that's okay. You're still super important and valuable to me. And when you look at this and you see that with people and you just care about them and you're keeping relationships, as Jasmine was speaking into, well, all of a sudden, like I look on my phone one night a couple of months ago or a month ago, and I have a text from her. Okay, I'm ready. Send me the link. It's like, oh, all right, let's go. Right? So you got to be consistent. The other thing I see is that if we don't get results right away, we stop. It takes people about 17 to 20 times to see something before they are ready to take action. And they're not seeing everything you put out there. They're not seeing every email. They're not seeing every Facebook post. They're not seeing every Instagram post. So you got to be consistent as fuck. Right? And people all the time are like, oh, I have to make up new content, or what else am I going to talk about? Talk about the same few things over and over and over and over and over again. Because when you talk about too many things, and I made this mistake, part of the benefit of mentorship is learning from people's mistakes. So learn from mine. I talked about way too many things at the same time on the same platforms in the beginning. Can you talk about different things? Yeah, but not at the same time and not on the same platforms, or at least have segmented email lists. I use this example a lot. If you're here in Tulum, Mexico, hola, and you got a little moped, I'm an ATV girl, took my ATV out today. So you have an ATV, moped, whatever. You're riding around the roads here. One of them I call Moon Road. I call it Moon Road because it's literally just craters, right? You're like, right? So you're going too fast. You're not used to being around here. You don't speak Spanish. Why is it important that you don't speak Spanish? Well, whatever it is that you're doing, your clients don't speak your language. They wouldn't need you. They wouldn't need you. So they're not fluent in your language. So you're riding around here, you do not speak any Spanish. You pop off the ATV, the moped, you smash your face. Are you going to want to go to somebody who is a general practitioner, who does massage therapy, Reiki, face repairs, I don't know, and like cooking lessons? Or are you going to want to go to the smashed face specialist? You have to position, write down the word positioning. You have to position yourself to be seen as the authority in your industry for people to take action. If you're wishy-washy, if you're inconsistent, this is like when I have so many like my soul people here in Tulum, and it's a very spiritual community. And quite often people are like, well, I just haven't posted on social media because my soul hasn't felt like it. I haven't felt called to it. I was called to the beach. And I'm like, I love y'all, but you got to put fucking systems in place for this. Have someone else putting your social media up, or have stuff batched, because your potential client doesn't care. Your potential client wants to know that you are consistent. If they sense you're inconsistent, I'm not going to work with you. If I'm giving someone my money, I better know they're consistent. Right? It's so important. Again, we can't make our business about us. I don't every single day wake up feeling like, can't wait to go on Instagram stories today and share my life, right? But I'm consistent, right? And I'm so consistent. I have been running group coaching programs. I've been running group coaching and one-on-one programs for 52 weeks a year for 6 years. And I'll be honest, I don't know other people in the industry who've been doing that. And I've also had a life, and I've traveled. You got to have systems in place, which I'm about to show you this one here, because this system took my business from $5,000 to $500,000 in 6 months, and then to 7 figures in 13 months. This is all organic. I did not run any paid ads. It works, and I use it with my clients. So are you guys ready to dive in and see it? All right. Now, what I do, if you are in the lab or 90 Day CEO, the lab is my virtual assistant agency. Every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month, I literally coach you. We get on a call together and I coach you through this, right? If I work with you one-on-one, we're going to do it like privately. But here's where we want to go. Oh, Jasmine, can you let me share screen? You're the host. Tenemos uno problema. We'll figure it out. I can't hear you, Jasmine, but at the bottom of your screen, you should be able to go to security and hit the security button, and then hit allow participants to share screen.
Security. There we go. Okay, yeah. So I'm on mine. Everyone, share screen.
Go ahead while we wait for this and drop in the chat what has been the biggest
There we
takeaways
go.
so far. I like to know. What's your biggest takeaway so far? That really helps me know how to best support you.
Should be working now.
I got it. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to start with the guide. Okay, there are three main parts to this, and I'm going to flip back and forth between screen sharing or not, because I'm a teacher. If you didn't know that, I spent 10 years in education. I'm a teacher at heart. I freaking love it. I always wanted to be a teacher. It's funny. They say like when you look back at what you were like when a child, you can kind of tell what you were supposed to do. And I used to always play school. Like my 3 little brothers, poor kids, like I'd sit them up and be like, we're playing school, right? And all I wanted to do was teach. But I was actually a really good problem solver. And I tell this story a lot. All the kids in my neighborhood were setting up lemonade stands in the summer. And I was 10 years old. And I looked and I saw Frank. I don't know if that was really his name, but we call him Frank. Frank and the construction crew building this whole cul-de-sac of houses. And I'm like, see a problem, solve a problem. There's no cafes or restaurants nearby. So I made a hot dog stand with canned soda and chips and brownies. Like literally, know your ideal client. You want to get more revenue, make more impact by knowing your ideal client. And I had a profitable hot dog stand. I was pulling in like $500 a week, right? As like a 10-year-old. It was great. So I look back at that and I've always been a problem solver. I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit, and I've always been a teacher. I'm going to flip back and forth between screen sharing and not, because there's this thing. And if you're a coach, write this one down. Or if you present, it's called pattern interrupt. To keep people's attention, you want to pattern interrupt. Yeah, that's just a little side note. This process follows what's called Ayurveda. Who here has heard of Ayurveda? Awesome. Yeah, Ayurveda, you can go research it, but it's basically how energy works and how we make progress. It's about keeping balance, and it moves from Vata, thought, air, to Pitta, action, fire, to Kapha, ground and reflection. The process I'm going to take you through literally goes through, we're going to go kapha, we're going to start with the reflection, then we go vata to the brainstorming, then we go pitta to the action. So that's the process we're going to be going through. Cool, cool. So this is a guide I made because originally when I sent the template, people were like, what the fuck is this? Okay, step one, you're going to get yourself organized. You're going to pull any Google Docs. Where are you tracking your leads? Do you have a sales scorecard? Last month goals, quarterly goals, your marketing plan, any 5R documents, which is if you're hiring. You're going to grab all of those and you're going to link them in the very top. So like you would put any Google Docs up here. Just link them all. Why does this matter? So that when you have a meeting, you're not wasting time. A meeting with yourself, I don't care if it's with yourself. You're not wasting time looking for docs. Okay, step two, you're going to copy all of your goals from the previous month into your new planning doc. So for example, this would have goal 1, right? Goal 2, but it would actually say what it was. So it could be like complete new 5R document for hire by 2/26, right? It could be set up automation for email sequence by 2/14. Notice how I have very clear deadlines. It's really important. Big mistakes I see will be like, be more organized. How the fuck do I know if we hit that? Right? You got to have measurable goals with deadlines. Super important. So second step you're going to do is copy this in here. Now, I know I'm going fast, but that's because I want a lot to get through and I want to answer any questions you have at the end. I coach 5 aspects of the business. Product, anything related to your product, your service, your offering, your onboarding, your offboarding, your client experience, client texts, client emails, client retention, anything related to what you are selling and your client experience goes under product. Course content if you have it. Operations. Notice I start with the back end. I'm such a back end girl. Everyone loves the front end. Everyone loves marketing and sales, but I'm a back end girl. I think that's where the magic is at. Operations is going to be your automations, your time management, anything with your team, weekly meetings, priorities, strategy, data, KPIs. Finance is going to be your cash flow. Now, finance might be anything you're doing with like credit or funding or opening a credit card perhaps, or a bank account. That would all go under finance. Now, I want to differentiate the financial health of a business has nothing to do with the revenue. That might sound surprising, but the financial health of a business has nothing to do with the revenue. It's cash collected. So when I'm working with clients, I put revenue under sales because it's money promised to come in, but cash collected under finance because that is the financial health of my business. I have to run my business, pay my team, do everything within that number. You see all the time, I did 100K months, 200K months. I'm actually not impressed. How much did you spend on paid ads? How much did your team cost, your marketing budget? It's actually your profit margins that are more important than your revenue. That's going to be under finance. Sales. Sales is going to be anything related to selling. This could be a lead magnet, opt-in, DM outreach, any kind of workshops that you do. It could be booked calls. These are metrics you should be tracking. Book calls, show up calls, converted calls. Now, I look at my clients, I look at those metrics. It will depend on how big you are. The bigger you are, the lower your conversion rate will likely be. Why? Because you're hitting colder traffic. The newer you are, the smaller you are, your conversion rate, 50% is amazing. When I've had clients with like a 70, 80% closing rate, I'm like, we're playing too small. We're playing too small. Now, the other thing with that is if you have a 50% closing rate, particularly in high ticket, you're doing very well. That also means you got to be just as comfortable hearing no as you are hearing yes. People hear one no and they're like, oh my God, I suck. This is where you learn the practice of detachment from outcome. If you want to succeed in business and in sales, you actually have to detach from outcome and go all the fuck in on the process. I said this at the event on Friday. So many people will be like, and I learned this lesson from my daughter, Layden. For those of you who don't know, I'm a bereaved mom. My daughter passed away 10 years ago. She would have turned 10 about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And I look back at her life and I did not get the result I wanted by any means. But I look back and I feel really proud of how I went all in on the process. Like I mommed hard, right? I put things in place with the hospital that they do now for families because I was just so creative in how I could be connected with my daughter. And I'm not going to get into it too much here, but attached to the process and entrepreneurship. What we're doing right now is the process. So if your closing rate is too high, okay, we're looking for holes and opportunities. Well, what's your opportunity? Get into colder traffic. That could be a focus for you. Get into new markets. Okay. I had another client where his show up rate was an issue. And this was interesting because he came to me. He ran an Amazon drop shipping business where he coached people on how to build their Amazon drop shipping business, whatever. It was pretty cool. So he was like, Melissa, I need more leads. My sales are down. Everyone always says that. I need more leads. I need more leads. And I'm usually like, you probably don't. So we looked at his metrics and his booked call rate was actually really high. He had like 10 book calls, but only 3 showed up. So a 30% show up rate is really low. You want about a 70% show up rate for book calls. So what did we do? We found a hole, right? He's thinking he needs more leads. That's pressure. We just found he needed to get people to show up on the call. So I looked at his process. Well, the text reminders were not set up correctly and the email reminders were not going out. The automation wasn't working. So people weren't getting reminders. We closed that hole, his show up rate increased, his closing rate remained the same, his business grew. We didn't need any more leads. So you're seeing how this kind of shows us what's really happening. It's like the health signs of your business. All right, so that's sales. Remember, you want book calls, show up calls, closing rate. And then the last one is marketing. Now, here's what most people do incorrectly. They market randomly or market more hoping to sell. You need to create a marketing strategy backwards from your sales goal. So some of you dropped in there, I asked your goals. Some of you are just in client delivery this month. If you're in client delivery, you're in what I call a nurture phase of marketing. You're just nurturing. So you plan to nurture all month. How am I sending out value shares? How am I building know, like, and trust? How am I sharing client results? I coach nurture, drip, push, press. 4 stages of marketing. But if you're constantly impressed, sell, 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 you're going to burn out and you're going to start to fall on deaf ears. Now, you can sell different things on different platforms at the same time. But remember, not the same things on the same platform at the same time. It'll confuse the fuck out of people. So nurture, you're just sharing value. Drip, something's coming, I can't wait to share. Push, it's here, can't wait to do it. Who's in? Press, you have 48 hours, let's go. You cannot be impressed all the time. You'll exhaust yourself. It's like you can't sprint all the time, right? It's be an athlete and like I would do sprint jog, like because I couldn't just sprint. You have to sprint, you gotta recover. Same thing here. Okay, so back to this. And if anything's really resonating with you, please drop it because it's really helpful for me and Jasmine to know going forward. So step 2, you're going to copy all your goals in. Now, step 3, you're going to highlight if you met them or didn't. These are going to be the 4 colors you do. Green, you met it. Yellow, you made progress but didn't meet it. Red, not met. Gray, it was removed from the goals. Here's where most people get in trouble. Entrepreneurs are high achievers. People don't want to put red. So they're like, I'm going to make that yellow. Really, yellow should barely be used. Yellow tells me that you didn't have a measurable goal. I want to market more. Okay, maybe it's yellow. I made progress versus I'm going to put up 12 reels this month. I'm going to send 18 emails this month. It should be red or green. We hit it or we didn't. You're pregnant or you're not. That's it. Now, the only thing that stops us from that is we create a story that there's something wrong with us if there's red on there. I want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. You have to bring neutrality to this. You've got to be so neutral. You have to be neutral when you do this. And just curious, like, oh, okay. Did I, and here's what I ask when there's red, and I do this with my team. Was the goal unrealistic or did we drop the ball? That's it. Then you get really clear in these conversations, like really clear in these conversations. Okay. So step 3, we're going to color code. So that could look like, let's say I would literally be like, okay, we hit that. We didn't hit that. This isn't even a goal, right? Hire new marketing person by 10. Okay, we hit that. You're going to get this. Now, what's going to happen when you do this? For every aspect of your business, because your goals are divided by aspect of your business. You're going to see a very clear color-coded area of what area of your business is begging for you to give it attention. You might be all green in product. I see this a lot. I see this a lot with people who are afraid to be seen or take up too much space. They're so good in product. I recorded all the content. I delivered to my clients. I did all my coaching calls, but I haven't marketed. Right? Or maybe some people are really strong in marketing, but then there's a lot of red in the sales. Okay, well, we know where you got to focus. Now you're going to have a color-coded visual. This is a teacher in me. Literally, that's going to show you where you need to focus. All right. After we do what's very tangible, we're going to get into some intangible. So like I said, this is very black or white. You hit it or you didn't. That's it. The next section, you're going to reflect on kind of your own experience. What went well? What could have gone better? What went well? What could have gone better? Anything that could have gone better is going to carry down into the next section. Anything that could have gone better is a flag for a potential hole. Anything that went well is like a wave for a potential opportunity. So you go through this whole process. Then we get to the problem statements and you brain dump here. How can I increase sales? How can I book more calls? How can I organize my product suite? How can I have more effective messaging? How can I increase client retention? You can add more, you can do as many as you want. From here, and this is all in the guide, right? You're going to pick 2 priorities. 1 and 2. You get 2 priorities a month. Oh, we got balloons going. We're celebrating 2 priorities a month. Zoom. What are your top 2 priorities? Like, that's it. From here, you build your new goals. So I'm going to do blank by blank. And here are some examples that you could work off of. These are things that could fall under operations, sales. These are different sales things. Total revenue is going to be including your payment plans that you already had coming in and new sales. Reoccurring revenue is only payment plans coming in. New revenue is only new sales that came in, and cash collected is the amount that you actually collected. So these are all different numbers that you really do need to pay attention to monitor the health of your business. It will show you, this will show you what your business needs. And everyone always tries to like guess or know. And I'm like, just go through this process and your business will literally tell you what it needs, like that. So, these are examples of other goals. I'll say where I see people get the most fuzzy is in marketing. I'm going to post more. I'm going to do more stories. I'm going to send more emails. Be specific. I'm going to send 3 emails a week. I'm going to send 2 emails a week. I'm going to have my lead magnet done by this date. If you're in a nurture phase, great opportunity to market to your lead magnet. Share free value. Hey guys, like not taking any new clients right now, but I want to share this super valuable. I've gotten a lot of questions about it. How could this support you? So nurture is a great time to share your lead magnet. Okay. If you only DM people or message people when you're selling something, you're hurting, you're blocking your business. It's too transactional. People will feel that. I've literally had someone say, Melissa, I was Googling how to hire you and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, well, that's feedback for me that I need to be a little bit more clear. And two, I had about 4 conversations with her and never pitched, right? I just share value. You want to be valued? Just share value. Okay. How are we doing, guys? We good? Is this helpful? Yeah. Oh, Teacher May is so happy. I also just want to give a quick little shout out to Season. Where is she? I don't know if she's on video or not, but there she is. Yeah, she's up top. So Season just joined. She'll be a 90-day CEO. We launch on March 11th is the next group that's starting. It's a 6-month group container. You have access to me and my entire team, actually. Gerard, Eric, they're all going to be doing coaching calls with you guys. But I said it's like your board of directors. But Season messaged me. I was on a run yesterday, and she messaged me and said, hey, I know we don't start yet, but I really want to map out my March. Can you send me some stuff? And I was like at the water and I saw it. I'm like, yeah, when I get back from my run, I'll send you some stuff. And I'm running back and I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to host a call. Everyone could benefit from that. And so I just want to invite you all into like just asking. Like just ask. Because honestly, this call wouldn't have happened if Season hadn't DM me in IG. So Season, thank you. I want to show you just an example of how you can build out like a revenue goal to be clear. So let's just say, I saw somebody in the chat who had like, I don't know, who in the chat they wanted like 3 new high ticket clients. Was that somebody on here who's still on? Rachel, want to come off mute?
Sure.
Okay, thanks, girl. All right. So what's your offer? If you have 3 new high ticket clients, what are they paying?
$5,000 for 6 months.
And is that one-on-one client?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is it payment plan or all paid in full?
Really either. My new thing is trying to go for pay in full.
Okay. Do you have a paid in full incentive?
Not really. I mean, I've offered like 10% off before.
Yeah. Everybody on here have a pay in full incentive. There's a couple of reasons for it. 1, you're going to spend less time tracking payments. 2, people are more invested. When they really feel the fire, I will tell you, they show up like way more powerfully, honestly. And 3, if you don't have a paid in full incentive, there's no reason for anyone to pay in full. They might be like, well, I'll test it out and then I'll just drop. Right? So definitely have a paid in full incentive. So Rachel, let's just play with this. Let's say you're going to do, it's 2,000, is this a 6-month offer, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to play with this. It's $6,000 for 6 months, or it's 5K paid in full.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to say 3 new one-on-one clients, and we're going to say 2 payment plans at $6,000 for $12,000. More people do payment plans than not. 1 paid in full at $5,000 for $5,000. Okay. Now your new revenue is going to be right there. So that's the new revenue you're going for. Now, if I'm looking at cash collected, you're going to be collecting 1,000 from each of these and 5,000 from this. So cash collected would be $7,000. Okay, so now you know, okay, that's what I'm going for. Do you have any payment plans coming in?
Yes.
Okay, what do you have coming in for payment plans?
I have 7 people right now, payment plans.
Awesome. And what will that be? Like, what are they each paying roughly?
It's different for everybody, which is my problem. So
Okay.
like it's from like $400 to $1,000.
All right, just for the sake of making it easy right now, normally I'd have you break it down and actually put each of those, but for the sake of making it easy, let's call it $600 on average.
Cool.
Times 7 people is $4,200, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your new revenue is going to be 17,000. Your total revenue is going to be, oh my gosh, math, 21.2. Is that right? Your cash collected is going to be cash collected then would be, what is that, 11? So those are KPIs that you're going for now. Now, if you want to book, do you know your closing rate?
So all of it, for me, it's always been referrals, which for me, it's been 100%. So when you were like, if you have high, you're playing too small, I was like, oh shit, she's talking to me.
Yeah. So for you, for a priority this month, I would look at getting into new markets, doing some Instagram collaborations, doing some events with other people. Collaborations, guys, are honestly, I believe, the best way to grow. I mean, I literally just did one with 5 other people in the industry, right? It's one of the best ways to do it. I think people have, you know, there's a level of pitch fatigue. There's a level of seeing the same things over and over. And then if you can come up with something different, people are like, oh, it's that. So collaborations, podcasts, free events, free workshops, see where you can go. Like when I was in the holistic health industry, that's how I started. I literally would just go to juice bars and be like, can I do a free workshop here on how to heal your gut? Why? They weren't selling gut health coaching.
I didn't get that. Could you
Yeah,
try again?
Siri just said that. I didn't get that. Listen better, Siri. So when you're doing a collaboration, who has the same ideal client and a different offer? Right? If you look at the people I just brought together, we came together because we all have something really valuable. We see ourselves as a board of directors. I do product operations. I do strategy. I do road mapping. I do back end. Gerard and Paige, they do content creation. Eric does mindset, right? Daniel does sales. And Britt does like algorithm, Instagram stuff. We all do something really different, but we all serve the same person. So where can you partner with people who have the same ideal client, but a different offer? That's going to be really important for you, Rachel, to get into a bigger market. So Rachel, for the sake of playing with numbers, let's pretend that you have a 50% closing rate, okay?
Mhm.
Because that's what I want you to have a 50% closing rate. I want you to get on so many calls this month that you have a 50% closing rate. You in?
I'm in, yes.
All right.
Totally.
So booked calls. If you want 3 new clients, how many book calls? This is a little bit of a trick question. How many book calls do you think you need to have 3 new clients?
8, because 2 won't show up.
Yes. Perfect. Then we're going to have show up. 6 calls, new clients, 3, closing rate, 50%. Now the game becomes, all right, what do we got to do to get 6 or 8 calls booked? Now, guess what? Your entire marketing strategy equals, I'm not going to build up the whole strategy, but booking 8 calls. Then you might want to look at, okay, what do I need to do for my onboarding process, my offboarding process? How do I get my product prices dialed in so I don't have people on all these different payment plans? I
Yeah.
don't have time to fully get into it, right? If you're in operations, how can I use an automation from Zapier that a payment sends them a welcome email? How can I have a lead magnet automation that if somebody opts in, now they're getting put into an email sequence? And I'm not just talking to Rachel, I'm throwing out examples for everyone. Operations and product are huge to scale. Sales and marketing will bring people in, but if you don't have operations and product dialed in, you will not scale. Hear me on that. You just won't. You will have too many holes in how your systems run, how things get done, and how people get results. That's just how it goes. I built off of product and operations. I didn't even really get good at marketing until, and I'm still like really not that great at it. Working on it. Now, different examples of operations, I put everything in here, right? So this is my marketing workflow board. This is just an example to show you of how I build out my marketing in advance. Like these are all my content here. And it shows like when it will be, if it's going on other platforms, what's the pillar. You can go in here and there's going to be the asset in here. My team will post it now. But planning your content in advance is going to be huge. If you're not doing it, I'd recommend doing it. Track everything on clients here, lead magnets. I mean, everything is in here for me, right? Everything. If I were to show you, This is something you could do in operations if you don't have it yet. Right? This is my business playbook. Everything I need is in here. By area of business, right? And my writings. But this is a really good way that you can, I have multiple workspaces, right? I have my personal one in here, but like, these are all like kind of examples that I made for teaching. So if you are not nurturing leads, you need a lead nurturing system. And here's a potential one. So you have potential people you've talked to. Where did they come from? Why is that important? Why do you think it's important to track where people came from?
So you know where to continue to put your money.
Yeah, you know it works. And you know it's not worth your time. I was with a client and she was like exhausted from posting on Instagram, but the truth is she was a tutor. So this was an interesting one. And I've worked with a few people in this situation. Her client, she was serving the student, the child, but her client was actually the parent. And I was like, stop posting on Instagram. The parent isn't on Instagram. All your parents are on Facebook and in Facebook groups. Go get in Facebook groups. So like, you don't have to do every platform. You got to figure out what works for your business, right? In fact, I don't think you should do every platform at one time, right? I still barely am in many of the platforms, barely in TikTok. Like I don't even know how to log into my own TikTok, to be honest. All right. Now they would move through a flow: potential, warm lead, hot lead, call schedule, call complete, no show, or DQ. DQ means you disqualified them. And don't be afraid to disqualify people who aren't a fit. It will give you so much confidence. And it will save you a lot of headache. Because in the beginning of my career, when I made mistakes by working with people who weren't a fit, it was a terrible experience for all of us, right? Just don't do it. It's not a fit, it's not a fit. Send them to someone who is a fit. That's a power move, right? I literally have told people I'm not fit for you, but they are. But you track it here, and once a week, you're looking at your board. Okay. If you have opt-ins, have a board for that. Now, when you have all of this done and all of your goals here with dates, two things. One, I keep this document up in my browser all the time. I don't just revisit it once a month. Two, we move things in here. So you would hypothetically take, let's say in your planning, you put, I'm going to do, I don't know, I'm going to do like new, like VSL for web page by 3/20. Okay, well, that's a priority right now. So let's put it in the backlog. So the backlog is where you put the things that you don't need to worry about right now. I know this is a little bit confusing, but this is super important for you to not wake up overwhelmed and to know what you're focusing on. So you take this document and then you put everything in the backlog. And at the beginning of the week, you look at what's on deck based on what I planned and you move it down. So I could take this and be like, okay, I'm going to now, this is on deck this week. I'm going to move it here. So I'm not looking at the backlog every day. I'll get overwhelmed as fuck. I'm looking at what's on deck, what's in progress. Now, if you have a team, you're going to want needs review or under review. If you don't have a team, delete it. Blocked should really not have anything in it. Blocked has been for me like when I need to do something with like the bank and it's not working, or friggin' taxes or IRS and whatever it is. Usually things out of my control. Done and complete, if you have a team, should be two different things. If you don't have a team, it can be one. The reason for that is somebody's interpretation of what done is could be very different from yours. So my team will put stuff in done, and only together when we meet every Monday would I look and say, is this complete? Oh, does that make sense? Okay. There are a million ways you can know. I mean, this is what I do. I organize backend. I love it. Everything. I'm all about automations, you guys. I'm all about organizing time and priorities. I know we're at the hour. I want to open up for questions that you have, and would just love if you could drop in like your biggest takeaway in the chat. But we have time for a couple of questions. So Who got a question? Yeah, everyone's like, I don't know what just happened.
A lot of people were asking if we're going to provide this worksheet. My answer to them was it's always provided with the 90-day CEO enrollment or the enrollment in the bundle. What is your
Yeah.
answer to that?
I do. I will be honest. I will do free trainings on this all the time, but I do keep this content for people in my community to like actually coach them through. So if you're a 90-day CEO, if you're in the lab, or if we work together one-on-one, you will have access to it. If you're a 90-day CEO, I coach this. So on Wednesday of this coming week, literally you get on a call and I'd coach you through this. And I would take questions. Like everyone would pull up their document and I would say, okay, do this part now, do the reflection. Okay, who had something come up? How can I support you? Okay, do your problem solving statements. Okay, now get your 2 clear priorities. Who needs help picking their top 2 priorities? Let me help you. And that's how I help people in the group. But I do, you know, it's a hard balance because I do like to give so much away. I really do. But I also feel a responsibility to really uphold the integrity for the people who do invest, and have them have a different level of access. It does feel important to me. It's like my one-on-one clients are the only ones that have text access to me. You know, like that feels important. Yeah. Let me see, what are we missing? Yeah, season, to me, that feels actually protective of the people who are investing, you know? Like, I just feel like it's really honoring that. Yeah. But that's how I do it. But I mean, this is recorded. You can see a lot of it. You can make, you know, you can make your own, but in my programs, I do actually guide you through it. Yeah. Other questions? Jasmine, anything else that I missed in there?
It's me. It's Carla. So I don't have a question, but you literally completely explained everything, and now I know exactly what I need. So I'm going to send you a WhatsApp message for our moving forward.
Yeah,
This was
perfect.
perfect, babe. This is literally this was everything I needed. So perfect. I'm going to send you a WhatsApp, and then we can move forward that way.
You're so, yeah, perfect. All right, Ashley and Lori, I see both of your questions. Thank you, Carla. I'm excited to work with you. Ashley, you can either book a call with me or I'll drop the link. I just put my booking call link here. We can talk about which program you'd be a fit for, or I'll drop the one if you just want to join the program. And I can show, Jasmine, why don't you share what you want? And then Lori, I will show the marketing workflow board because I made it and I'm really fucking proud of it. It's really good. But go ahead, Jasmine. Oh,
Stupid mute. I know that you're not going to talk as much about yourself as I possibly can. And so I just want to tell everybody, just as briefly as I can, where I was a year ago when I found Melissa pop up on my Instagram when I'm like on a plane from Mexico City back to Tulum, trying to figure out what the fluff I was going to be doing now that I didn't have a job and was slowly running out of my sabbatical money. And I did like a 5-day version of this with her. And I had so many answers without even having the worksheets or anything in front of me of at least like how to niche deeper into what I really wanted to do. And like Rachel's known me for a long time and she's seen a dramatic shift because Melissa will say this all the time, how we do anything is how we do everything. And I was able to see how all of my systems, all of the stuff that I was so good at implementing as far as my physical health and my spiritual health and even mental health, there was so many freaking holes in it still. And I was able to apply that across the board. And I have not yet had to go back to being an employee. And I'm very proud of that. But I also credit that towards the 3-month program that Melissa has, the 90-day CEO. So I am a walking, talking example of success.
Thank you. Goosebumps. Yeah, I love to do what I do. I love it. And so I get like a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest. I get to be better at receiving. Thank you, Jasmine. But I love what I do. And if I can support you in your journey, it's truly an honor. And if this is it, then this is it. And if I can take you further, you know, I can give information, but the transformation happens in the working together, you know? All right, we had a few more questions. Real quick, Avi asked how many people will be in the 90-day group. It's typically, it depends. I have two different level calls. One is foundations and one is selling and scaling. So you would be put in the level that you're at, and those calls can be anywhere from like 5 to 12 people on them. If we start to get beyond that, I add another call. I like to keep the group small and intimate, but in 90-day currently, we've had anywhere from like, I don't know, Roxanne, she's still on here, could say we've had like anywhere like 5 to 6. You know, now we're going to be adding a second call. So my guess is we'll be right around that threshold. And they all are recorded. Susan, I'll hit your thing on so what after I show the marketing work board. And also, Mary, I'm glad that you're on here because we had a call set up that started 2 minutes ago, and I voice noted you to see if we could push it back. So I had a feeling we'd run late. So I'm assuming that that is okay with you. All right. The workflow board for marketing, I set up just like the workflow I just showed you. So everything here, these are your sections. Now, your resources and documents, put them all in one spot, just like in the monthly planning sheet. Your Google Drives of photos, audios that you like, links to Dropbox, put all your stuff in one spot. Ideas, but you need more assets for it, I'll put here. Ideas that are more ready to be crafted out, go here. Live ideas, I actually kind of just kept that for me. I don't really use that. I tend to not go live as much as I should, or could rather. Once something's assigned, once a week, we assign the content. So it'll go here. And then once it's complete, it'll go here. If the caption is all set, does it need a cover photo? That's really just for reels. You want to make sure you have a cover photo on your reels. Does it need to be reviewed? Does it need to be approved? What pillar is it? Where else is it getting posted? Now, I write all my emails. I write every single email, and we use a lot of my email copy for captions. I don't make any of my posts anymore, and I don't even approve them. My team does at this point. When I first started this, I approved every single thing. I was very, very hands-on. As I build trust, now I just tell my team, this is my vision, this is the concept, this is what I want to bring to life. This is what I want to talk about. And then they kind of put it together. Sometimes they run it by me, but when you've been doing it for a while, and I've been working with my team now for about a year, you kind of get it down, but it is a process. I don't believe you can completely offload and outsource right away. And even in my virtual assistant agency, I tell people it will take time. It's a 4-month minimum to join my virtual assistant agency. And because it takes like 3 months to get a groove when you're hiring. And especially because people come in and they're so busy and overwhelmed, but then they have to like train. Like, I'm like, we need to know what you want. We need to learn your voice, right? So it takes time. Any questions on that? I forget who would ask to see the marketing workflow. Any questions on the marketing workflow board? Yeah, Avi, okay, my website really needs to be updated, guys. When I said there are things in my business that could be done, website has been back fucking burner. But if you go to speakingofmelissa.com, it will link to my different offers, my one-on-one, my group program, and the lab, speakingofmelissa.com. We did that because my last name is really hard. If I'd be melissadauglucky.com, everyone's like, what? So anyone else have questions on the marketing workflow? No? Okay, Susan, you had a question on so what? Okay, so what does is it helps you understand why what you're doing matters. So for example, like somebody could say, I see this all the time. I'm a women's empowerment coach. So what? I don't know actually what that means. Do you work with young women, divorced women, single women looking to be in a relationship? Do you work with women recovering from body dysmorphia? Where are you empowering them? Women's empowerment coach, like, I don't know what the fuck you do. If you're a women's empowerment coach and we're not more specific in how you're empowering them, you are relying on people who just know and like you. That's it. And you'll get by for a little bit for that, but you won't scale. So for example, what I did with, and I'll use the example I shared before with this woman, her real name is Stephanie. Her thing was like, you know, come to this workshop, you're going to feel more confident in your body. I'm going to help. It's going to help you feel more confident in your body. And I was like, so what? She was like, well, so you feel more confident in your body. So what? Well, so you stop skipping dinners and social gatherings on Friday nights because you're afraid to get fat. So what? So you don't hang your bathing soda up in your room to try and shame yourself into being restrictive. So what? So you don't walk by the mirror and pinch your side every time. And when she said it, she got emotional. And I was like, that's it. And I remember this from almost 5 years ago. And we changed her, I have like my whole legs are tingling, goosebumps right now. We changed her messaging to like the workshop, stop walking by the mirror and pinching your side, or never walk by the mirror and pinch your side again. How many people are going to stop scrolling when they see that versus build body confidence? No one is laying awake at bed at night saying, I want to build body confidence. They're really not. You need to think about, what is your person laying awake at bed thinking, or at night thinking, right? They're thinking, I don't know your person. My person tends to be like, it depends. It depends on which level I'm working with, but my entry level, right? My 90-day CEO, particularly entry to mid-level, they're thinking like, how do I scale without needing more followers? Or how do I not have to work so hard? How do I feel more strategic? How do I make more impact? How do I actually feel like people are hearing me and I'm not just posting content on social media on deaf ears, right? Does that answer your question, Susan?
Totally does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Because I could jam on this stuff all day, but I'll take like one more question if we have any more, or any other thoughts. Curious about what you think about Avi follow. Cracking me up. Okay, curious about what you think about marketing. I get this question all the time. All the time. Do I think it's more effective, the question is, to appeal to people's pain or their pleasure, their aspiration? Here's what I'll say. I show the pleasure just by being. I show the possibility. I show the aspiration. I am it. I live it. But there are times when I need to really speak to the pain to be effective. Like, stop posting on social media feeling like it lands on deaf ears. Stop waking up wondering what to do every day. Stop feeling overwhelmed as fuck. Right? Don't let shiny object syndrome take you out. Right? I got to speak to that. If you have a car and it's an average car, you're going to be more likely to put money in it, not just to make it nicer, but like if something is broken and that's pointed out to you. Right? That's just the reality. Right. I worked with a sales coach once who said, like, you know, people say like they can't do this, they don't have the time, they don't have the money. Well, if he used the example of a lion, but if a lion gets a really nasty thorn in his paw and he's in pain, he's going to figure out the time and the money to take that out. So I don't like to, I do see some things that can be too pain focused, that can feel a little bit manipulative. I don't like that. But I think if we're unwilling to speak to the pain and the reality of what's happening, we're kind of keeping people in their la la land bubble. So I would say I do 85 to 90% of just showing the possibility, like showing, you know, look, I was $100,000 in debt. You didn't know this about me. I was $100,000 in debt in 2018. I was a high school educator. I'm a bereaved mom. I didn't like business. But when I actually understood what I just showed you and implemented it, I also didn't like business because I just wanted to help people. How many people could I help when I was depressed, burned out, and broke? Not many. No one. Right? And I invested like crazy in my coaches and my mentors and my healing and my work and my studying. I said this last week, time doesn't heal and time doesn't grow your business. I don't care how long you've been in business for. It's not just going to grow because of time. Time will give you the experience to learn. But what I think time is ultimately gives you the space to choose into growth, to choose into healing. That's all it does. I know a lot of people who I started in the same mastermind with, and I say this humbly, I started in the same exact mastermind, who I mean, one of them just very recently was working for me. Right? So studying this is really important, but I show people it's possible. Right? And I'm still figuring my own stuff out. Honestly, there's always ways to improve. All right. Oh, this was so good. I'm so glad. Like, guys, this was such a last minute thing. Literally, it was what, 8 o'clock last night. I messaged Jasmine. I was still on calls. I'm like, Jasmine, I need you to get the team to do this because I got an idea and we're gonna do it. See a
The
problem solver.
inspiration bug.
Inspiration bug bit. Any final questions? All right, y'all. If you would like to talk more about how I can support you, if you want to like kind of understand the programs, please feel free to book a call. I opened up time this weekend, like little 20-minute things. If not, I'm just wishing you all the love and growth and success in your business. And it is an honor to be part of this journey with you. So see you all later. Bye. Bye, bye.